Okay, today I'm going to show you how to make meatloaf. Okay, now making a meatloaf is a relatively easy thing. All you really need is, of course, ground beef. Got 2 packages here because I'm making it for family. Bread, you could use heels of bread, full pieces of bread. I'm using some hamburger buns that I had left over. And extra bread, because you never know how much bread you're going to need. A single egg. Milk. I use clover milk, just because I do. And Italian seasoning. And of course, salt and pepper. But I don't have that on the counter. Now the first step you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take your pan. I'm using an off thing. It's a cooking spray. Butter flavored, because it's awesome. And your pan. And you're going to want to prep your pan before cooking. This is to make sure that none of the meatloaf, because it's super nummy and you don't want to waste any of it, sticks to your pan. So you take your spray and your pan and you're just going to line your pan with the cooking spray. I'm getting it everywhere because I'm epic like that. And your pan is completely covered. That's going to prevent it from sticking. Now you don't need the pan yet, so you're just going to stick it over here and let it wait. And that's going to be ready to go for when you preheat your oven. Okay, now you're going to want to preheat your oven, that way it's nice and warm before you start to cook. Meatloaf cooks at 375. If the button will get there. Pretty sure it will. Okay. Now the first thing you're going to want to do, and you're just going to open your meatloaf and do your bowl. Again, pretty easy to do. And you're just going to do this to both packages. That way it gets it into easy manageable pieces. They don't need to be too small. There's really no size thing you need to worry about when you're doing it, which is pretty cool. I think so, at least. Now, if you don't like slimy, squishy things, this probably isn't the best thing to squish together with your hands. But luckily, I'm not that way. I love squeezy, squishy, slimy, nasty things, so that's good. So yeah, you're just going to do that to both of them. It's going to look something like this when you're done. Start it. I might leave your bark in there though, just because it's magnificent.
It's pretty funny, huh?
Yeah. I might just leave it in there to startle people. In fact, come in here and do that close to the camera.
That's to be random and silent.
It's going to be silent.
I have to smash you like a cobra.
I can split the video and take my voice out of here, you know.
Okay. I have to smash you like a spider monkey, like a cobra.
Like a spider monkey?
That way you don't have a chance to use.
Okay, so now all of your meatloaf is broken up in pieces. And it looks like that. My brother's still barking at me, so that's okay. And after you rinse the meat off of your hands, then you're going to take your bread and you're going to break your bread up into pieces inside your bowl with your meatloaf. Just like that. Doesn't matter if they're too big, but you don't want to make them too small because then they get all icky, mushy, and gross. Really doesn't matter what size you do it, I guess. Just want to get enough bread in there, so that's one bun. It's a pretty fast process doing that. It's pretty easy. Egg helps give it moisture and at the beginning and thickens it later on, so you just break your egg in there. I like to mess with it because, again, I like squishy gushy things. Whee. So yeah, I normally play in the egg. Which is fine because my hands are perfectly clean. Now the rest of the moisture from this, because you can't mix it up just how it is you want to add a little bit of milk. Just a splash to begin with, because you never really know how much milk you need. It all depends on what hamburger you use. So you're going to want to mix it all together, kind of squishing it, but not really squishing it. I need more milk in here, see, because it's all dry. And you don't want it dry like that, because then when it cooks it becomes really, really dry. And then it's really, really hard to eat. So I'm just going to add a little bit more milk on there. So now I have my egg, my meat, my bread, and my milk in here. And you want to add some Italian seasoning next. So I'm going to get that. Okay, so now you have your mixture looking like that. Which doesn't look very appealing, I know. I think I'm actually going to add a couple pieces of bread to it because I think I put too much milk. I'm going to add another piece of bread because that doesn't look like enough to me. And with adding the bread, I'm going to add my Italian seasoning. Now it's a different amount for everybody because nobody's tastes are the same, you know. Just add as much as you want. I normally try to put a decent amount in there because I like Italian seasoning. And you could also add garlic powder, onion powder, really pretty much any seasonings you want on it or in it. It tastes pretty good. I normally don't add salt to mine, but I do add some pepper. Not too much because I don't use salt and pepper a lot. And we'll put in some garlic powder this time. I'm adding that because I think it'd taste pretty good with some garlic powder in it tonight. It's really, you can change it whatever night you're doing it, whatever you feel like having, and you remix it. Which is why I told you if you don't like gross, squishy, nasty things, not to do this. Because it's a pretty hands-on thing. You could do it with a spoon, but it doesn't work as well. Another thing I forgot to add is onion. I already have some pre-chopped onions, so I'm going to add that after I rinse the gunk off my hands. So yeah, you add some onion. So this is my chopped onion, and I'm just going to add it in. Anyway, you just add it in there, and you're going to mix it in also. There's a lot of hand rinsing here because it's a kind of messy thing to make, but eh. Good cook's a messy cook, which is why my kitchen's a mess right now. It's because a whole bunch of other people who are good cooks, unlike me, come in here and cook. Okay. Now your mixture looks like that. Looks a lot better with the onion in it, I think, personally. Now, you're going to take your pan and bring it over here. And you're just going to lift your meatloaf out of the bowl and press it into the pan. A lot of people say meatloaf has to be loaf shaped. It doesn't. Mine is never loaf shaped. I don't know where they got the idea where it had to be loaf shaped, but mine's not. That's just the way it is. Now this is going to cook for about 45 minutes at 375 degrees. Okay, because you started your oven before you started prepping your meatloaf, it'll be already preheated by the time you go to put your meatloaf in. You just want to put it like on the middle shelf. Middle shelf. And set your timer for 45 minutes. When those 45 minutes are over, you're going to put shredded cheddar cheese on there, which I'm going to I already have shredded. It's up in the cabinet. And I'll probably show you when I go to put it on the meatloaf. But yeah, so you gotta wait 45 minutes and then you can take it out of the oven. Or pull out the shelf, put the cheddar cheese on there, let the cheese melt on top of it and take it out. And then you guys can eat it. Okay, so now you have your cheese out and ready. And your timer went off, so your meatloaf is ready for the cheese. My camera got all foggy. So you take your cheese, and you're just going to spread it out on your meatloaf like that. And depending on how much cheese you grate, you may or may not use it. That's fine, you don't have to use all the cheese. You don't even really have to put cheese on there, but it tastes good. I like cheese myself. I'm a cheese person. And you're going to close this back in the oven to melt the cheese. Want to get it nice and melted on top. Okay, now your cheese is melted and your oven's off. And now all you gotta do is wait and let it cool down, and then you can eat it. And that is how you make a meatloaf.